Welcome to Book to Blueprint, where powerful books become practical blueprints for real life. You do not need more information, you need execution. This is Book to Blueprint. So, chances are you've probably heard of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Maybe you've even read it. But here's the real question: do you have a plan to actually use it? Well, today, that's exactly what we're building. This isn't just another summary. Nope. This is a straight up, actionable blueprint designed to turn the book's ideas into your real world financial strategy. Let's dive in. Here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll lock in on the core outcome, the end goal. Then we'll break down the one big idea that makes it all possible. After that, we'll install your new financial operating system and then jump into the step-by-step implementation blueprint. And finally, we'll cover the habits you need to build and the mistakes you absolutely have to avoid. Okay, so before we get lost in the how-to, let's get laser focused on the what. What's the whole point of doing all this? What's the prize at the end? It all comes down to one specific, life-changing result. The goal, plain and simple, is financial independence. Now, what does that actually mean? It's that beautiful moment when the money flowing in from your assets is more than enough to cover all your expenses. See, true wealth isn't about having a huge paycheck. It's about getting to a point where your money is working so hard for you that you don't have to work for it anymore. Now, to get to that incredible goal, you don't need some super complex, genius level theory. You just need to get your head around one single central concept. Seriously, this one simple, powerful idea is the foundation for everything else. All right, first up, an asset. The book's definition is just brilliant. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. It's something that generates income. Think of it like a little money-making machine you own. And on the flip side, we've got a liability. It's the exact opposite. Anything that takes money out of your pocket, it costs you. Honestly, just truly understanding this one single difference, that's the key that unlocks this entire philosophy. In this slide right here, this shows you the fork in the road. The rich focus all their energy on buying assets first. They build up their money-making machines. Then, the cash those machines produce is what they use to buy cool stuff. The poor and middle class, they do the exact opposite. They buy liabilities that they think are assets, like a fancy car or even our house, things that just drain their bank account every single month. Okay, now that we've got that big idea locked in, it's time to install your new financial operating system. Think of these as the basic rules of the road that are going to guide every single money decision you make from this day forward. There are really just 3 rules to this new LS. Rule number 1 is the bedrock. You have to know the difference between an asset and a liability, and then you have to go out and buy assets. Rule 2, mind your own business. Look, your job pays for bills, sure, but your real business is that asset column you're building on the side. And rule number 3, the rich don't work for money. Instead, they turn every dollar they have into a little employee that works 24/7 to make them even more money. All right, enough with the theory. Theory is great. The execution is what counts. This next part, this is the real meat of our blueprint. It's your step-by-step game plan for putting all this into action. The path is actually pretty straightforward. It's a simple 3-step process. First, you get smart about money. That's financial literacy. Second, you get total control over your cash flow. And third, you put that cash to work. Let's break down exactly what you need to do at each step. Step 1 is all about getting financially literate. This doesn't mean you need a degree in economics. It means setting aside time every week to learn how money really works. Your first mission is to get comfortable reading the numbers, understanding your own finances. And hey, before you ever invest a dime, if you don't understand something, find an expert or a book to fill in the gaps. How do you know you're succeeding? It's simple. You can competently explain these ideas to someone else, and you stop guessing and start making informed decisions. Step 2 is where you become the boss of your money by mastering your cash flow. This is super practical. Every single month, you need to track every dollar that comes in and every dollar that goes out. The goal? Keep those expenses low so your income is always, always bigger than your outgoings. You'll know you're winning when you start taking that extra cash at the end of the month and use every last bit of it to buy assets. You'll literally watch your asset column start to grow. And that brings us to the most exciting part. Step 3, buying your first asset. The moment you have that extra capital from step 2, you pull the trigger. You buy something that generates cash flow. Then, and this is key, you immediately take the money it produces and you reinvest it to buy even more assets. This creates an amazing snowball effect. Success here is simple. You own that first income generating asset and you're watching your passive income tick up over time. So once the blueprint is in motion, the real key is to keep it going. And that takes building some specific recurring behaviors. These are the habits that won't just keep you on track, they'll actually speed everything up. Think of these habits as the engine of your whole financial plan. The big one, the most important one, is to pay yourself first. That means money goes into your asset column before you pay your bills. That pressure forces you to be creative. Next, be a giver. The more you teach what you're learning, the more you learn yourself. And always, always remember that action beats sitting on the sidelines. But the master habit, the one that holds it all together, is self-discipline. It's what separates everyone. This means no more dipping into savings. Savings aren't for emergencies, they're your investment capital for creating more money. Okay, finally, let's talk about the roadblocks. Even with the perfect plan, there are these 5 major obstacles that stop most people from ever actually building wealth. We're going to face them head on, one by one. The first and honestly the most powerful roadblock you're ever going to face is fear. Look, everybody is afraid of losing money. That's totally normal. The big difference is how you react to that fear. Most people let it paralyze them. They avoid any kind of risk, and because of that, they miss out on every opportunity. The rich, they feel the fear too, but they don't avoid risk. They learn how to manage it. And that shift in thinking from avoidance to management is everything. So once you start managing your fear, you're going to run into the next big obstacle, cynicism. You know that nagging little voice in your head that says, oh, that'll never work, or that's way too risky. That's cynicism, and it's an absolute wealth killer. The book puts it perfectly. Cynics criticize, and winners analyze. So when you feel that doubt creeping in, you have to train yourself. Stop criticizing and start analyzing. That's how you spot the opportunities that everyone else is too cynical to even see. And finally, we've got a little trio of wealth destroyers. First up is laziness, which is sneaky because it often shows up disguised as being too busy for your finances. You have to fight that. Then there are bad habits, and the worst one is using your savings to pay your bills. Remember, those savings are for one thing, investing. And last but not least, arrogance, thinking you already know it all. What you don't know is what costs you money. The only way to beat it is to stay humble and always be learning. So at the end of the day, here's the bottom line. The entire blueprint is laid out right in front of you. But the real work, that's a choice you have to make every single day. The power to be rich, poor, or middle class is decided with every single dollar that passes through your hands. So the only real question left is this. With your very next dollar, what are you going to choose? If you have a book in mind that should be added to our list, comment below. If this blueprint helped you, subscribe and build with us. We are doing this one book at a time. Remember, you do not attract what you want. You attract what you do. More blueprints are coming. Stay intentional, stay consistent. Now it is time to act and build.